You keep looking for her, the queen, the temptress, the woman behind the madness. But here's the secret. She never existed. There was no girl named Lady Macbeth, no cradle, no mother humming lullabies, no bloodline of noble woman braided into history. There was only a whisper, a fracture in the mind of a man who wanted too much. He conjured me, not from flesh, but from fear, from hunger. I was the shape of his guilt before he ever sinned. The phantom voice that made his worst thoughts sound like destiny. You call me manipulative? I was his permission. You call me ambitious? I was his excuse. I did not seduce him. I was the seduction. The moment he heard the prophecy, the moment his veins itched with crown lust, I stirred. At first, I was just a flicker, a breath behind the mirror, a suggestion in the shape of a smile. But then he named me wife, partner, queen, and I grew bones, skin, a voice that tasted like honey and poison. Unsex me here, I said, not because I was wicked, but because he couldn't bear to be. He couldn't wear the weights of the blade, so he built me to carry it. And carry it I did, through blood, through madness, through the slow, rotting ache of becoming real. With every murder, I grew sharper. With every scream, more solid. But here's the course of being imagined. You only exist for as long as you're useful. And I began to change. I started dreaming of forests that spoke, of children I never bore, of love that didn't taste like war. I began to want things, soft things, impossible things. And he looked at me then with fear, as if I were the monster, as if he hadn't dreamed me into being. But I knew the truth. He didn't want a woman. He wanted a mask, a monster, a myth he could stab when it all went wrong. So when the walls started bleeding and the crown rusted in his hands, he blamed me. He always would, but I'm not to blame. I'm not real, not in the way you think. I'm what ambition looks like when there's nowhere left to go. I'm the voice that says yes when you're begging for a no. I'm the hollow shape carved by guilt, so sharp it needed a body. When he dies, I vanish, not like a ghost, like smoke, like thought, like the end of a sentence no one wants to finish. So remember me, if you must, but not as a queen, not as a bride, not as a villain. Remember me as the thing he whispered to himself. When the crown looked too heavy and the blood felt too fresh. I was never real, but I walked, and for a while, that was enough.